Welcome to FootballGamePlan.com, where football makes sense. I'm Emory Hunt, the czar of the playbook, bringing you an NFC Championship game preview between the Minnesota Vikings and the New Orleans Saints. Now, here are my keys to victory for the Vikings. In order for the Vikings to move on to the Super Bowl, the defensive line has to get pressure on Breeze by collapsing the pocket. When you look at Breeze, he's a phenomenal quarterback. He's going to step up in the pocket, make plays, get the ball out of his hands quickly. So when defensive ends fly up the field, they effectively take themselves out of the play. So that means Jared Allen as well as Ray Edwards, once they get to a point where they're even with Breeze, they have to flatten out, collapse the pocket, force Breeze to stay in the bubble, and they should have some success in that game. Second, you look at the offense of the Minnesota Vikings, they have to attack the underneath coverage of the Saints. If you look at the Arizona game, Arizona was able to complete some passes underneath in between the linebackers and safeties. There's a weakness in that defense, an opportunity for them to exploit with those talented wide receivers in Sidney Rice, Percy Harvin, as well as Bernard Berrien and Vashante Shenko, the tight end. They have to attack the underneath coverage of the New Orleans Saints. Now, what I'm about to do is go into the lab and show you guys how the Vikings can exploit those matchups. Guys, one of the Vikings' most impressive zone blitzing schemes that they like to utilize. They utilized this last week against the Cowboys, and it was effective. What you got right here is a pro set offensively, a base 4-3. Cover 2 scheme, and they utilize cover 2 a lot when they bring the pressure. So you look at that cover 2 right here, your base cover 2, you got your cornerback right there, bump, release, try to get this guy to funnel him inside to your help. Right there, you got safety on the hash, another safety on the hash, responsible for the deep halves in the cover 2. Now, where they utilize a lot of stunts right here, this is what they do. They have the strong side defensive end lined up, which would be Ray Edwards, lined up in the 7 technique. His job is to attack that D gap. Boom, right there. He's going to apply that pressure on the outside. Now you got the Sam backer or the strong side backer in certain schemes. He's crashing right here. Boom. He's going to apply that instant pressure because what you want to do is Ray Edwards is going to cross face then come down in that D gap. Now you have, this is where it gets tricky because what they do, they utilize this one technique right here. Kevin Williams, he's going to show pressure, then dip back into his drop zone, which is hook to curl. The middle linebacker, hook to curl. You know, now you have this guy coming in the B gap. You have Jared Allen coming around the end as well. And this weak side backer, which is normally responsible for hook to curl, he's crashing down right where, you guessed it, right where Kevin Williams left. That is an effective zone blitz. That's how they apply pressure and force the quarterback to make errant throws. They're going to have to utilize a lot of these different zone blitzes schemes this week in order to disrupt the passing time of Drew Brees. And offensively, the Vikings will want to attack the underneath coverage of the Saints defense. And what you see here is a way to attack the underneath coverage of the Saints defense. One of the more impossible routes to stop in football, period, is the turn route. Let's look at the turn route. You got the tight end right here. He's going to work his way up. Boom. He's simply open by alignment, turn it around. Why? Because now you have your receiver running off. You have this guy running a flat route. So this is the key guy right there. Let's put a circle around him. That is the guy you want to key off. Let's just say in the base coverage, this is the guy you want to key off. Strong safety is dropping. Let's say he drops here. He has to chase right there. That is opened by simply turning around. The turn route is one of the more important plays in any passing offense because it's open every play. You could literally throw this pass every play down the field. Another key to victory for the Vikings will be to get the ball to Adrian Peterson, one of the top 3 tailbacks in the game today. Feed him the rock. You know the Saints still have some leakage in that run defense, so you will want to feed the ball to Adrian Peterson, pound on that interior defensive line. That's going to allow Brett Favre even more time in the pocket when they decide to throw the football, and operate off play action will work to Shenko and Rice and company. A 4th key to victory for the Vikings, you want to get your wild card in the game, Percy Harvin. Get him the ball in space. He's the Minnesota Vikings version of Reggie Bush. He returns kicks. You can see him in the backfield. You can see him lined up outside a receiver. Get him the ball in space. Let him take advantage of his athleticism and his quickness to get down the field. So you want to get him involved in the game early and often. Now, here are my keys to victory for the New Orleans Saints. In order for the Saints to have some success in this matchup, they have to attack the seams of the Viking defense. If you look at the Cowboys, what they did in the divisional playoff game, they were able to attack the seams of the defense. Witten was wide open. Anytime a running back got down the seam or the tight end got down the seam, as far as Martellus Bennett and Witten, they had some success. So the Saints have to utilize those two tight ends they have in Thomas and Shockey to attack the Vikings down the seam, that's going to loosen up that pressure and allow you to work underneath in between the linebackers and the defensive line. So you want to attack the seams with Shockey and Thomas, as well as a slot receiver, whether it be Meacham or Colson, whichever they line him up, wherever they line him up, whether it be in the slot or on the flanks or on the split, you want to attack the seam of the defense. That's going to put pressure on the linebackers as well as the safeties to close that opening. Second, the Saints have to run the football to win this game. They have to apply balance. You look at two statistics from the Arizona Cardinals games. Saints threw the football 34 times, ran the football 32 times. That's balance for the Saints offense. That's how they were able to have success running the football. So off-tackle running is a key to victory this week. You have to run off tackle because the Vikings have two huge defensive tackles and Kevin Williams and Pat Williams up the middle of that defense. So you want to get those big guys moving side to side. Then later on in the game, you're able to run the football up the middle after they tie out. But you want to get these guys on the move, off tackle, whether it be a lot of spread, a lot of stretch, a lot of power plays, off tackle, screens, sweeps. Get those guys moving laterally, and then you'll be able to run the football up the middle later on in the game. Now, going back into the lab and show you guys how the Saints can exploit those opportunities in the Vikings defense. Here is a basic seam read that the Saints like to utilize. Number one, you look at this guy right here. Let's say if you're playing, it's a basic seam read right here. This guy is working up here because this cornerback has flat responsibility. You know, so let's say if this guy jumps this flat, boom, open. Why? Because you have this guy working up here down that way. Now, that's a basic seam read. Why? Because you have if he jumps, this guy is open. If he doesn't jump, if he pushes, if he squeezes underneath, then you have this guy pushing. If he pushes this way, then you have this guy open. Why? Because you have a natural read right here. And the Saints have to keep these big defensive tackles on the move. The way you do that, you keep them going sideline to sideline. One basic play you like to run is your power play. The Saints run this well. What they do, you have your base, your strong formation, which means your strong tight end. Your tight end is on the strong side. They're clearing the strong side. The fullback is also on the side of the tight end, which makes it even stronger. So what you want to do as the offensive lineman, you got a combo block. Boom. Two guys block this guy. Two guys block this guy. Now you combo to the backer. Combo to the backer. Now usually you have your tight end taking on a defensive end, but in the power play, you're trying to get man on man, body on body, strength on weakness. So you have this tight end straight up, go and block the strong side backer, leaving this fullback to take the end. You want this guy to work like that. Quarterback opens out. Running back has to take a jab step to give the time to set up. It's a 26 power. Give the play the time to set up. Take a jab step. Now he's going outside. Quarterback opens up. Hands and carries out his fake. So that is a power play that they have to run in order to get these guys going sideline to sideline. Victory for the Saints to win this matchup. They have to bracket Sidney Rice. Sidney Rice is Favre's #1 target, so he's going to go to Rice first before anyone else. So you want to bracket Rice and force Favre to look for those other targets, as in Berrien, as in Percy Harvin, as in Vishawnte Shanko. So you want to make Favre go to his second and third option by bracketing Rice, take him out of the game, and force the other wide receivers to beat you. Fourth, you know the Saints have to win on first down defensively because the Vikings will try to run the football and pound the rock in order to get ahead of the chains and make the play action game work well for that offense. So you have to win defensively on first down in order to put these guys behind the chains, second and long, third and long situations, to where you can turn up the heat defensively and get after Favre and allow your secondary to play a lot more tighter coverage and loose and allow free safety, Darren Sharp, to read Favre's eyes and be able to dictate where the ball is going and intercept passes. So you really have to win on first down defensively. Here's my prediction. I believe the Saints will win this football game. If you look at the last matchup in 2008, the Saints were able to move the football on the Vikings. Granted, the Vikings had Gus Frerotte at quarterback, but the Saints were able to move the football on that Vikings defense, the same defensive personnel minus Sharper that you have out there this week. So the Saints also had 3 turnovers in the red zone. So I think the Saints will be able to move the football against the Vikings, and I think playing at home will help the Saints move on. Now, if the Vikings are going to win, the Vikings will have to take the crowd out early. The way you do that, a long, sustained drive, and score every time. That is the way you beat the Saints at home, on the road. But I'm going to take the Saints in this matchup. I think the Saints will represent the NFC in the Super Bowl this year. For more NFL predictions, visit footballgameplan.com/NFL.